The ceasefire, which was announced, say at about 5:30 p.m. on 10th May, has surprised not only the countrymen, but all in the country, whether it was the military establishment or the decision makers themselves. Well, why did it happen and how did it happen? It was because our country today, India, the great country, has come to the foreplay of the world powers, and the comprehensive national power, our national will, our comprehensive national power took us ahead of Pakistan, and the military gave them a good hammering. This operation was a tri-service operation for about 72 hours, but in this, mainly the role played by the Indian Air Force has been commendable. They went on the very first day, destroyed the terrorist centers in Pakistan, and then they followed it up on the 9th, 10th May, and during the day of 10th May, when they struck 10 to 11 military air bases in Pakistan, like Chaklala, Noor Khan, Rahim Yar Khan, Murid. So all these were the bases which matters to Pakistan in its air effort. They were destroyed. Pakistan lost the ability to fly their aircraft. And when that happens, the country's ability to fight a war is reduced drastically. Earlier in the previous 2 days, their air defense came to zero because of an excellent air defense command control system which is existing in our country. They came to grief. I want to tell you all that Lahore air defense system was knocked out. And what is air defense? It is the shield of a country at its borders. It protects you. Now with the ceasefire having come, where does India stand? Well, this operation in 72 hours had achieved a partial objective of destroying the terrorist camps. But what the Prime Minister had said, identify, trace and destroy, that part of it, to destroy totally, is still a work in being. Because we have to get hold of the ideologues and the ideology. Now, to get hold of the ideology, it takes time, maybe 20, 25 years. But definitely, the Pakistani spine has been broken. And why so? Because India today adopted the proactive doctrine. And this proactive doctrine is the one which has paid dividends. Now, with this ceasefire on, Pakistan broke it true to its nature. It is the nature of the state of Pakistan, its DNA of deceit, deceive, धोखा उनका देने का ये सबसे बड़ा कर्तव्य है. And that is where Pakistan, having broken the ceasefire, later in night, by about 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, government said Operation Sindoor continues. However, the whole night, nothing has happened after that, after 11 p.m. It is holding, the ceasefire is holding. Tomorrow, the two Director General of Military Operations of India and Pakistan would have a meeting. Let us see what transpires in that. There are many issues, but what I would look for this ceasefire, how do I find it? Well, death and destruction is not a good idea for human beings. It doesn't augur well. So, every right-thinking human being would welcome. But the neighbor which we have, who understands only one language, and that is the language of hammer. If they get hammered, they are okay. So when they were hammered yesterday, in particular, their Director General Military Operations begged the Indian Director General Military Operations for a ceasefire. Now, let us see where it goes forward in the days ahead. Let me say, we have to be knowing the enemy, assessing their leaders, is the ability of military commanders and the leaders, political leaders, the government. So Pakistan cannot be trusted. They may say anything. For us it is, try to trust but verify. So Pakistan, being what it is, India has to be in a proactive domain. How can we be in proactive domain if we are not firing? Yes, there are non-kinetic measures which we implemented. And what are those? Firstly, we did a master stroke in holding or putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. It is held in abeyance. So we stopped the waters, and when we felt that the Pakistanis might do something, we opened the waters, and the area there lay flooded. So the ability of Pakistan to undertake military operations was reduced drastically. Their Kharif crop season is coming up in the next few days. They must start sowing, and that also is going to suffer. So this non-kinetic measure has been an excellent thing. And the other non-kinetic measures which will be effective, which will be proactive, is our surveillance through drones, our electronic means, our cyber means, our digital means. They are to be very effective. Our maritime domain has to maintain dominance in the Arabian Sea. And we have to oversee the access in and out from Karachi. We have to monitor it. Likewise, our army has to be alert along the line of control. Though I would say, after Pakistan said that they're cancelling the Shimla agreement, calling it off, there is no line of control and there is no ceasefire line. So the artillery barrages have been exchanged. But let me assure the country that very devastating artillery fires have taken place. Like the Indian Air Force targeted and bombarded with Scalp, with the Hammer missiles, and with the BrahMos missiles, which has come of age now, Air Force having used it. That is where Pakistani came down to its knees. Likewise, the artillery, the long-range artillery, our rocket artillery has played a very major role along the line of control. So now the firing before this 22nd April along the line of control was much under control because there was a ceasefire. Since it is not there, I would expect that firing may take place also. Now, what are our other options? Having covered the military part, there's always the diplomatic front, and which is very important. So, Pakistan having played the villain in ceasefire and then breaking the ceasefire, the world knows the DNA of Pakistan, which India is talking about, in clearer terms. There are three events which portrayed Pakistan as the villain. Firstly, when we struck the terrorist centers, their DG IPSR, he came and gave a press briefing, in which he covered the terrorist centers starting from POK down to Bahawalpur, thereby betraying that there are terrorists in Pakistan. Second, you all recall that in Bahawalpur, a ceremonial funeral was carried out, ceremony for the terrorists who had died, which showed that Pakistan, the presence of their military generals and the police officials, the bodies of these terrorists were draped in their national flag. The coffin was carried by the army personnel. So which puts Pakistan to shame that terrorism and the government machinery are the two sides of the same coin. And now third is when they broke the ceasefire. So the sympathy, I think, will not be with Pakistan anymore. And India must exploit this in the various forums in the world, like United Nations Security Council, in our Quad, in the G20, like such forums, we should become very active to portray Pakistan, particularly in the Arab world, so that they know that this Muslim brethren of theirs, so-called, is a cheat, is a deceitful person. We have got good relations with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, and they would now know the righteousness of approach of India. So that is very important in this next phase. But I would expect that Pakistan would do some trickery. They would perhaps try to trickle in a few terrorists. They will try to exploit the overground and sleeper cells in Kashmir, try to do these small little actions. And the moment they do that, then the Indian government has specified, cleared very clearly to the world, and in particular to Pakistan, if there is terrorism action taking place here, if there is a terrorist act, then India will treat it as an act of war. And when it is an act of war, as per international law, we can go to war with them. And Article 51 of the UN Charter adequately covers this aspect. So we remain on a moral high ground. Pakistan tries, we'll give them in kind, we'll give them a punitive reply. The retribution will be perhaps prohibitive. Economically, Pakistan has been bailed out many times, about 24 times by the IMF. Unfortunately, this time too, 2 days back, they have got $2.5 billion aid. I only hope that this aid is with geopolitical strings, with a noose around their neck, that if they try to do hawala with the terrorists, giving them money or corrupting their own money for their own thing, particularly the generals, then this aid should stop. Now, these are the measures which are there. The maritime domain should remain absolutely active. Our air corridors should be very vigilant. And yes, the army has to be very vigilant too. Having said this much, let us, you and I, the people of this great Bharat, observe the days ahead very, very critically. Security in our hinterland, in our depth areas, is as important as it is in the border areas. And it is for you and me and we and us to contribute to the national security and to the might of the nation. Thank you.